Hi everyone. This is sort of a follow-up video to my this little corner introduction. It's about time I actually say something rather than say hello. Um, I've been around the corner a bit now for a little while, and I have picked up on a few things. I've had a good talk or two with Ethan Coffey, Chris Howard, and Claire Core, and also various people in the Bridges of Meaning Discord, if anyone is familiar with that. Probably a lot of people in this little corner are. And to people who don't have any idea what this little corner means, look, just look up Paul Vanderklay and you'll start cottoning on soon enough. Um, anyway, something interesting came up a little bit for me. Something I was noticing that there are quite a few people who are a combination of Christian and some degree of involvement with AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, I guess, or Addicts Anonymous, as it probably styles itself these days. It depends, I guess. But I guess I mean I want to build to a bigger philosophical point. I haven't decided what that philosophical point is yet, but I will try and get to one. This interesting intersection between Christianity and addiction and recovering from addiction and all that. I mean, sure, lots and lots has been said about it, but my own weird little perspective is as someone who has never had a substance abuse problem and has completely avoided all of it assiduously to the point that I don't drink coffee at all. I don't know what it feels like to be drunk. I've tasted alcohol a little bit, and I generally didn't like it. And I've never been drunk. Never took my interest. I decided from a very young age that I was already addicted to video games or something like that anyway. Had a bit of an unhealthy obsession, you could say. And I didn't want any of this other substance crap. Definitely didn't want any of that. But the thing about addiction that I'm starting to notice is there are debates within it, aren't there? I remember coming across a piece of writing once that was very frustrated with the, shall we say, the AA presumption that you will turn to God or the higher power as part of the process. And that was causing this fellow to struggle even more. And again, I have blundered around Bridges of Meaning a bit with my own preconceptions about Christians, and sometimes they fulfill them a bit, and sometimes they surprise me. And I kind of guess I'm hoping for both sometimes. Odd. But at any rate, this whole problem of presumption with the Christian approach or the AA approach that creates tension with people, myself included. Um, Whatever my merits as avoiding substance abuse, I have also avoided spirituality for part of my life as well. Spirituality and religion and so forth. Um, and I guess what I want to talk about is what is the high and heavy handedness that causes us all to recoil, and what do we do about it? Clearly, we need to be honest about what we believe, and clearly, we need to um, be clear when we think there are real problems. But at the same time, live and let live, and just taking an interest in others rather than trying to change them seems to work better, even for the purposes of changing them. Um, what else can be said on this matter? Uh, I guess I am as guilty as anyone of coming in high and heavy handed at times. But I also have some sympathy for it, actually. The whole, not so much the high and heavy handed part, but rather blunder into a situation, provoke outrage, say a bunch of stuff and see what happens, and try and clean up the damage as you go. But it causes things to happen. It causes conversations to happen. It actually provokes people in a situation who know more than me to actually start talking in their expertise quite well. And then I get to sit back and watch and go, I caused that by being an idiot. Again, one of the joys of knowing bugger all about theology and coming into a space full of theology nerds. Now, does that mean that I'm truly inexperienced in the topics? Because what are the topics of spirituality, really? Look, I'm just riffing. This is the style of TLC. Some things that are phrased as a question, just comment on them in the comments or make a response video or whatever you like. It's all good by me. But what I'm thinking is like the topic of religion and spirituality, the theology and so forth. Sometimes it's about, very specific claims about the hierarchy of heaven or the particular ways to define the nature of Jesus or whatever it is. But also, the thing I keep returning to as well is this is all just about life, isn't it? Dealing with an addiction is about fixing your life, or not even fixing, but living your life, rather than being dead in the addiction. I guess that ties back to the AA concept that I raised. As for Christianity, life is almost an underrated value. I mean, we talk about love, we talk about joy, we talk about all sorts of things when we're on the topic of Christianity. And I probably am not even considered a proper Christian. Whatever, doesn't even matter to me very much. But on the topic of Christianity, how much does freedom and life and the free nature of a life come up? It sure does come up, but sometimes the debate is not about the fact of the thing or the lack of the thing, a binary thing. Sometimes it's just twiddling a knob and saying, could we talk about life a little more? And I once heard this beautiful phrase from a near-death experience that love, which we do care very much about if we are in the Christian modality, is a life's own longing for itself, to continue the experience, to vary the experience, to deepen the experience, to share the experience of whatever life is. It has a growing nature, it has an indefinable nature, it has an unpredictable nature. And life in the sense of a lived life, my own of 33 years or anyone else's life in the TLC. I mean, we seem to actually connect best when we get away from matters of dogma or even intellectual discussion, which can be fruitful, and just discuss life. So what point shall I end on? Because I feel I've blundered into another situation without much of a plan and just talked and talked and talked. One of these days I'll write something down or I'll come at it all with a plan. But I guess my final thought is this. If the TLC or whatever form of spiritual or ideas debate anyone would like to engage with this video or anything with, I feel I've butchered the grammar there, but whatever. If anyone wants to discuss life from the general to the specific and relate it to these questions we keep coming back to, some around how to live, how to deal with a crisis, how to find what some people call God or what some people call Jesus. Some people call Jesus something that I wouldn't, if that makes any sense. And that's another point of contention I often run into with Christians. But I think my final point is there is no point. I can't think of a good one. Over to you. Paul Vanderklay. Sorry, sir. I sometimes burst into you and burst into the sounds wrong. Sometimes I boss you about and say things that I really shouldn't, and you're left scratching your head. And then I come back and I'm quite reasonable. Let me be fair to you, Paul, if you ever see this. But Paul, you wander around making no point in particular, and you kind of end with no point in particular. You've made many videos like that. Sometimes you make quite different videos. But you've made many videos like that, where we just sort of chew on the ideas, and I'm starting to get just how hard it is to actually arrive at a point. Now, isn't it? You have my sympathies, my dear old friend. At any rate, I think I better stop. Thank you so much for your time, all of you. Pick up on any thread you would like to. And with any luck, I didn't waste your time. Cheers. Bye.